welcome back to Movie Recap Zone. Today, I'm going to explain an action-adventure film from 2022 titled Uncharted. Spoilers ahead, watch out and enjoy. The movie begins with Nate hanging from an open plane in a row of cargo crates. After fending off numerous mercenaries, he makes his way up. But as soon as he does, a red automobile pushes him back out, as he is about to fall to his death, leaving his adventure's dream. A hand grabs him just in time. 15 years earlier, when Nate and his older brother Sam broke into a museum in Boston, young Nate would have fallen from the window if Sam hadn't caught him. In order to locate an ancient treasure, the orphan brothers are searching for a post-Magellan expedition map to find it. Unfortunately, as soon as Sam tries to pick the lock, he sets off the alarm, and the police come to arrest them. Nate is permitted to stay, while the cops take Sam to prison because this is his third offense. However, Sam escapes for a brief minute to say farewell to his brother. Before he departs, he gives Nate his treasured ring to keep with him always, and makes a promise that he will return. Nate discovers an empty sheet of paper and his brother's lighter, which he uses to reveal a secret letter with lovey sentiments from Sam. 15 years later, Nate now works as a bartender. Additionally, he pickpockets wealthy clients by approaching them, using improbable justifications, such as assisting a girl to light her cigarette in order to steal her jewelry. Even though the lighter no longer functions very well, Nate still carries his brother's lighter with him. One evening while Nate is shutting the pub, a man named Sully comes up to him and compliments him on his pickpocketing skills. He invites him to accompany him on an upcoming crucial task, but Nate disagrees because he doesn't want to do crimes with a stranger. When Nate searches his pocket, he finds Sully stole the bracelet from his pocket and left his card instead. Nate visits the address listed on the card because he wants the bracelet back. Nate is shocked to learn that Sully is holding the authentic Magellan's map that he and his brother tried to steal 15 years ago. Sully responds to Nate's comment about the legends that claim the first trip had been arranged to discover gold. The journey had been paid for by the Moncada family, and the current heirs, Armando and his son Santiago, are still searching for that treasure. Sully states that he was a friend of Sam's to persuade Nate to go with him. Sully tells out that seeking for the gold could also help Nate find Sam, but Nate continues to reject him, saying the brother he knew no longer exists. When he gets back to his apartment, he opens a box he keeps with special memories and finds letters from Sam. Additionally, he discovers the ring, which he puts back on, and then thinks he actually does want to do this. Nate and Sully get together to discuss their initial move. A cross that serves as a key for the chamber where they have hidden the gold will be offered at an upcoming auction as one of the antiques. They need to grab this key in order to begin because the legend claims there are two. However, Sully already has one. After requesting that Sully split the gold equally, Nate spends his downtime investigating the location of the auction and devising a strategy. Santiago is also present on the night of the auction, so there will be a fierce rivalry for the cross because he believes the gold is his inheritance. Although Santiago is not alone, his mercenary commander Joe, who was once Sully's companion and teases him whenever she sees him. Sully poses as one of the bidders as the auction is about to begin, and Nate is preparing the strategy. Joe sends her guys to watch him after noticing that he is acting strangely. Nate enters the electrical room by placing his gum on the lock. The goal is to turn off the power so that Sully can steal the cross in the dark. Sully is forced to begin bidding against Santiago even though he does not actually have the money for it. On the other side, Nate is unfortunately discovered by Joe's men, and a conflict ensues. After trading blows, Nate exits the room and decides to create a scene by jumping on the ceiling lighting in the hallway. Sully flips his jacket around and poses as one of the employees as everyone starts to panic, and the cross is being removed. Sully takes the cross away and claims he's in charge of delivering it to the vault. While Nate is discovered and pursued by security, Joe notices Sully escaping and follows him. She manages to corner him and threaten him with her knife. However, the security spots them. They attempt to arrest her for assaulting an auction employee. While Joe battles the guards, Sully is allowed to go with the cross. Nate is waiting for Sully when he returns to his vehicle, and they decide to travel to Spain together. Nate has access to the captain's journal while they are flying, which verifies the myth. The Moncada family was informed that Magellan had found nothing, but in actual, they hide tons of gold in Barcelona. Even if the main hint so far is merely a tree, they will be able to locate the gold by using the hints in the notebook. When they go to Barcelona, they encounter Chloe, another treasure hunter who has been successful in locating the other cross. Sully, who she views as dishonest and treacherous, is the only person with whom she does not like to collaborate. When she departs, Nate realizes she took their cross with her and pursues her through Barcelona's streets. However, Chloe is quicker and arrives at her car in time to make her getaway. However, she may have the crosses, but Nate and Sully are the only ones who know where to go next because they have the notebook. Nate leads them to the location suggested by the clue, now that everyone is cooperating. It's not a real tree, rather, it's a reference to a church with the word pine in its name and a tree in its logo. In the meantime, Santiago approaches his father. Armando has been in the headlines announcing that he will donate his riches, and he admits that this is because their money has been stained with blood. Santiago leaves without being able to persuade his father to change his mind and goes to see Joe. He asks her to keep an eye on Sully because he's been spotted in this town. Once again, the crew is taking a break before moving on to the next stage of the strategy. While Nate sits in the kitchen, Chloe informs Sully that she believes Nate to be Sam's brother, and demands that Sully tell him the truth about what happened with his brother. Sully refuses, stating that he will do so at the appropriate moment. Santiago tries to persuade his father once more, but he still wants to donate his properties. Since Armando refuses, so Santiago tells Joe to kill him. Later at the church, Nate is astonished to see that the postcards there match one of Sam's. The group then discovers symbols and inscriptions engraved on the floor. When Nate clicks a hidden button on the walls, it reveals a concealed artwork behind the statue of Mary. They find the keyholes for the crosses. When Nate flips it over and reveals a picture of hell, the darts almost kill Nate and Chloe as they use the keys to turn the machine clockwise first. Fortunately, their second attempt ultimately allows them to reach a secret tunnel. According to the journal, one cross must remain in heaven and the other in hell. So Nate and Chloe carry one cross into the tunnel and Sully holds the other while remaining outside. Nate installs a tracker on Sully's phone so that he would know where to go next. Sully can now follow their movements without realizing that Joe is also watching him. Following a secret tunnel, Nate and Chloe arrive at a nightclub where Joe's men are also present. The two sneak across the floor and make it to the bar where Nate attempts to ignite a fire with Sam's lighter. They initially cause a distraction, giving them the time to focus on the puzzle. However, Joe's soldiers discover them, and Nate engages in a fight, while Chloe eventually discovers another keyhole that she can open with the cross. The two manage to escape before it closes once more by using a brand new hidden tunnel. The pair reach a secret door beneath a fountain, and when they use the key on it, the room starts to fill with water. To save them, Sully must use the cross on the hole above the earth, but the keyhole is concealed by a thick glass covering. He starts to work on shattering the glass, but Joe appears to try to take the cross, and they get into a fight. Sully, however, tosses Joe against the glass, finally shattering it. Sully then secures the cross over the keyhole, and unlocks the hidden door to allow the pair to escape. Nate comes out, but Chloe has fallen unconscious underwater. Nate returns to Chloe to save her. When they both surface, Chloe realizes that she has been aided rather than backstabbed. They enter a Roman antechamber through this entrance, where Chloe lights a torch when Nate's lighter malfunctions once more. Sully can see them through a drainage grill on the roadway. After discovering a symbol engraved on a rock that says both keys must be used together to open the next door, Sully throws his key through the grill so it may reach the pair. When Nate assembles the crosses, he is able to unlock another enigmatic door that leads to a Roman warehouse. The team initially believes they have found the gold because there are 3 enormous urns there, but these are nothing but salt. The urns unexpectedly breaks, allowing them to discover a map among the salt. Nate notes a route that connects Spain to the East Indies, but before he can consider the options, Chloe pulls her gun out and insists that he give her the map. Nate tries to strike a bargain with her, but Chloe simply reminds him that he is unaware of his brother Sam's disappearance before knocking him out and escaping with the map. A short while later, Sully wakes up Nate, who demands to know the truth. Sully explains that together, they arrived at the captain's grave and discovered the notebook. But as they were leaving, Joe and her soldiers assaulted them, and Sam was killed. Nate believes Sam could have provided some of the missing clues, and since he's dead, this is the only reason Sully recruited Nate, so that he could know something from him. Nate dissolves their alliance and departs after accusing Sully for his brother's death. Later, when Sully tries to convince Nate to return, Nate only agrees because he has been contemplating the postcards and has made up his mind that he wants to complete the task his brother began. When Joe goes to tell Santiago what occurred, she finds that Chloe is also employed by him. She will now be in charge of the operation because she has had greater success, which enraged Joe. At his exclusive airport, Santiago and his team prepare everything, including his favorite red car, which Nate and Sully use as an opportunity to enter by hiding in the trunk. Santiago begins to speak about how his family had been deceived and how he will restore their honor. After determining their course of action, Joe cuts him short by killing him. Nate and Sully seize the opportunity to sneak around and retrieve the map. As Joe and her men pursue Chloe, she becomes alarmed and tries to flee. However, when they reach the cargo compartment, Nate can't help but confront Joe and ask her if she indeed killed Sam. The goal was to also steal several parachutes and jump out of the plane. Sully leaps away with the parachute, and as the cargo is thrown off the plane, Nate's leg gets stuck, and he falls, taking us back to the beginning of the film. Chloe is discovered by Joe's men, who are shooting rapidly, making it impossible for her to use a parachute and flee. Nate climbs back inside, but Chloe decides to drive the car off the plane instead, so she pushes Nate out once more. She is also the one who grabs his hand and deploys the parachute, allowing them to land in safety in the middle of the ocean. The two float for a while before the waves eventually carry them to the Philippines, where they check into a hotel using Sully's credit card. Nate discovers the map doesn't exactly show where to find the treasure, but using Sam's postcards and Chloe's printed version of the map that has the same measurements as the real one. Sam attempted to leave Nate the final clue, proving Sully's assertion. So Nate and Chloe spent the evening trying to decode his words. After a while, Chloe becomes exhausted and goes to bed, but Nate doesn't give up, which ultimately works to his advantage. Nate discovers a hidden message on a postcard instructing him to use the crosses as a compass. By doing just that, Nate ultimately locates the gold and records the locations on a piece of paper before retiring to bed. Nate wakes up alone, but he purposefully left the wrong locations because he already knew that Chloe would betray him. She decides to take the note with her and leave Nate alone, unaware that Joe is watching him from a distance while gazing in the wrong spot. Nate boards a motorboat and travels to the cave indicated by the GPS. Nate swims through an underwater tunnel within this cave and emerges inside another cave where both of Magellan's ships have been buried for all these years. Sully appears at the cave as Nate discovers the gold, thanks to the tracker he still has in his phone. He assures Nate that Sam would be proud of him, but before they can take the gold, Joe and her men arrive, so the pair retreats to a concealed space. Joe's crew uses 2 helicopters to transport the entire fleet through a hole on top of the cave, so Nate and Sully emerge from concealment to take as much gold as they can. They then proceed upstairs and engage in combat with the crew, eventually forcing every man off the ship. The ship is being held by chains, so Sully can scale them to reach the helicopter, where he pushes off the guys and takes control to flee. Joe, who boards the other ship, commands her pilot to follow Sully. Her soldiers storm Nate's ship and start fighting. As a result, Nate knocks them up and takes their guns as well as some nearby gunpowder. Sully pilots the helicopter through a tight space between 2 cliffs in an attempt to escape, but Joe is waiting for him at the opposite end. He uses a very risky maneuver on his part to avoid colliding with them, but this is only a short-term escape. Joe and her ship are still pursuing them, driving Nate to desperate measures. Nate stuffs a ball of gunpowder into the ship's cannon, and after a few unsuccessful attempts, he finally succeeds in getting Sam's lighter to work and fires the cannon at the other helicopter. Before the ship hits a hill and the helicopter catches fire, Joe leaps off of it. Although Nate and Sully believe they have prevailed, Joe boarded their ship and lowers the anchor to prevent them from sailing away. The ship can't hold for much longer, so Joe and Nate trade punches before Nate starts scaling the chains to get to the helicopter. When Sully notices Joe is pursuing Nate, he chooses to change his ways and sacrifices his gold bag by throwing it at Joe, sending her into the water. Unfortunately, the chain snaps and the ship collapses on top of Joe, killing her. Sully assists Nate in getting into the chopper, but the ship sinks and the Philippine naval troops are closing in, meaning the treasure would wind up in the hands of their government. Sully laughs as he observes Chloe trying to follow them on a speedboat, when Nate suddenly shocks him by revealing the gold he was able to conceal in his jeans. A few months later, Nate meets an agent representing a man by the name of Roman who wants to trade his ring for a Nazi map. The Roman is interested in Nate's ring. The agent attempts to betray Nate by stealing both the ring and the map, but Sully arrives and causes a distraction, allowing Nate to get both items back. But the pair is stopped by an opportunistic person. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you did, subscribe if you're new, and at last, I would say stay well, stay safe, thanks.